Hey everyone, welcome to another episode. This is JR, founder and CEO of Social Market.
Hey, my name's Leon Hitchens. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer of Social Market.
This is Social Ledger Report, where we talk about the weekly news, trends, and just trending things on the crypto space. So, Gemini's IPO.
So big moment for the Winklevoss twins. I saw all of them, just all over Twitter talking about it. 10 years in the making, kind of,
Wow.
getting shafted at the Facebook world. Who knows what the actual truth is there, but, they hit the public markets and they were also not only beyond that, they were also just showing up on a lot of, why is this such a bad screenshot?
Yeah, I guess the SEO
Ge-
or word search is kind of
yeah,
mixed.
yeah.
Sorry, the guys from Versteeg.
But I don't know. This is a terrible screenshot. But Gemini was topping charts on Apple's App Store.
Okay, yeah.
I think a large part of it was the Bitcoin credit card, the XRP credit card, and then the fact that they IPO'd. Everybody was looking at them. The outcome and the goal for them was to raise 425 million. In its IPO, which I think they did, they popped about 30-40% from open. And then that puts them at 3.3 billion out there. And then I love that their ticker was actually essentially Gemmy, like Gemini. But that was a good ticker overall for them. I don't know, like out of all the crypto exchanges for a long time, they kind of looked at like the mediocre second, third tier one, but
Yeah.
more and more they're popping up. They don't have a lot of dev tools like Coinbase or anything. They're way more just like exchange focused.
Yeah, and then with their new credit card that came out. So a few weeks ago, we talked about the Bitcoin credit card, and then we talked about the XRP credit card. But it really is just one. But they were pushing for this public relations move where you could get a limited edition credit card with the Bitcoin design or their latest XRP design. But really, what I think is really cool is you don't need to have a treasury or a large holdings like Coinbase's credit card to get the most rewards. And as a result, I use it a lot. I use it literally for everything. And I have an electric car, so whenever I charge, I just get 4% back from whenever I travel. Um, it's amazing. I like it. So I've seen myself gravitating more towards Gemini, like organically over the last year. And I grew to enjoy it more and more.
It makes sense. Just on their business perspective, though, they lost money in 2024. They lost money in 2025. Sooner or later, the market's going to look at them and see if they actually make sense. Again, really strong brand presence. It's like Coinbase, Crypto.com, and Gemini that really get talked about. Kraken has been doing really big marketing pushes.
Kraken's really
Um,
good too.
yeah, so like there's a bunch of stiff competition. You have Binance, which is really an international one. You have Binance US, but the Binance US is a different company, different thing. They also have a ton of debt that could really drag them down at some point. They got to stop these losses, figure it out. They've got a custody business, they've got compliance infrastructure. I think that's going to be really interesting to institutional investors. But it just shows that crypto markets are getting more regulatory clarity. It lowers the risk for these crypto related IPOs and lets them go raise public money and raise a large sum of it without having to either go raise another round or even just take on some sort of further debt that could put them in a really bad spot if
Yep,
crypto at some time has a bear market and just pushes all their exchange volume down.
I agree.
I also think it's like a really good signal for IPOs. Like, and I talked about it before, more of these crypto companies IPOing means more of them just hitting the markets and having the confidence to go do that. And then investors having that confidence to put more money into these crypto quasi companies and just, kind of keep pushing it. I would be interested to see, what Gemini does with this money. Maybe they do some sort of partnerships with stable coins. Maybe they build out more infrastructure, dev tools. It's kind of unclear, but I think if they stick to being an exchange, like the custody, the compliance, and all of those large institutions would probably flock to them as a place to buy crypto like reserves.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I think it's interesting how, despite being at a loss for the last 2 years, you said 23, right? 23 and 24. They still managed.
24 and 25. I'm sure they were
Okay.
losing money before that too.
Yeah, especially since 2023 was kind of the bear market between
Yeah.
22 and 23. It was kind of like People were abandoning crypto left and right. But now it's really interesting to see them. And apologies if I sound like death almost. I don't know how else to put it. I've been recovered from my sickness. I just hear myself and I'm disgusted. Anyways, so
I can feel it too. I've got all the allergies hitting me.
yeah, so it's probably that season. Bull market season is right around the corner, I think, especially since, or I think it happened already, but I think it's interesting to my original point that Gemini still managed to IPO despite being at a loss. I think that was really interesting. So I really don't understand how some of these business sort of things work. I feel like the more I work with a startup, the more I understand business, but it always surprises me how business can work. A lot of it is just based on vibes and just having the right people with you. And maybe they just had both, led them to the IPO.
Oh yeah, 100%.